Happy daylight savings, happy daylight savings time day or something like that. They sprung they sprung the clock ahead of us 1 hour today. And if I'm not mistaken, this could be it could be the last time that they do this. I think there's a pretty big move to oh, there goes that clock. There's a pretty big move to stop the whole daylight savings time thing. But anyway, all I know, is that more sunshine in the evening, in the spring, and less sunshine in the evening in the autumn. Basically, that's how I look at it. But anyway, I heard a question once. If they invented a pill that you could take and you would only need 1 hour of sleep a day, and the other 23 hours you'd be fully refreshed, would you take it? I sure as heck would. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like sleeping and all the other things that, come with being in bed. I like all that stuff. But boy, if I could take a pill that would just, all I would need is 1 hour of sleep and I'd be fully refreshed for the next 23 hours. Oh, goodness gracious. I would do it. I'd probably take the pill. I'd probably take my 1 hour of sleep right around the time that I take my nap every day. So anyway, but what else is on my mind today? You know what? The show that I did the other day. First of all, let me thank those of you that called in to the show that I was on the other day on the radio. Rhonda from Mississippi. I think there were 2 calls from Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. And thank you, and thank you for the people that Mark and his wife in Michigan that sent me a nice email. Several people actually sent me an email saying that they had watched, or listened to the interview that I did. On the Dan Rivers show. And thank you. A lot of people made wonderful comments on Facebook. And, it's just it's touching. Yeah. The most touching feedback that I got came from the little brother I like to look up to. And he sent me a message. Like myself, he loves listening to talk radio. And he sent me a message later in the day, after I'd even talked to him, shortly after the interview on the radio. And just out of the blue, later in the day, he sent me a text message, and he said, Dad would have been really proud listening to you on the radio today, as was I. As was I. And for him to express that thought with me, that meant the world to me, to be quite honest with you. But the radio interview itself, I thought, interestingly enough, I thought it went really well. It wasn't what I expected. I had sat down the night before and started to type out a very, not detailed, but an outline of my life and the significant points that I wanted to make throughout my life in relation to doing this show. And I had expected that it was going to be okay, Tom, Why don't you take 10 minutes and tell us about yourself? That's what I had expected it to be. But it didn't turn out that way. He went right to the calls rather quickly. So I found myself having to adjust, adjust mentally. Because mentally, I went into the interview thinking I was going to do one thing. And then it turned out to be something completely different. And as I adjusted, as I pivoted, I remembered what were the key points that I wanted to make. I wanted to give credit to the three people that had the biggest impact on my life. Christ, my father, and my client, Peter Frank. And I was able to achieve that. I think quite well. What I wasn't really able to communicate that I really wanted to was how for all my 20s I was chasing material wealth in the pursuit of happiness. I was equating material wealth with happiness. When I have all that cool stuff, the car, the house, all that stuff, that's when I'll be happy. And it kept eluding me all through my 20s. And it wasn't until I accepted Christ and started living my life in accordance with the teachings of Christ that my life turned around. And, you can debate that all day long as far as whether that was the significance of, accepting Christ. Bottom line is I turned my life around. I started, living cleaner. I started just focusing on things that were more important, so to speak. But anyway, it was a good interview. The one line, my brother, the little brother I like to look up to, he I don't know where I came up with that saying, the little brother I like to look up to. I like it though. But he had told me, we were talking about, he and I, and he is he's a good man. He's a devout Catholic. And we had been talking about that pivotal point in my life where I accepted Christ and my life turned around. And he said, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. How profound. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. And, that's very true, I think. You got to be ready for stuff. I think that oftentimes when you ask God for something and you don't get it, maybe that's God's way of telling you don't need it, or you're not ready for it yet. Maybe all through my 20s when I was chasing that dangling carrot. And I kept asking God to let me get a bite of it. Maybe I wasn't ready for it. Maybe I wasn't responsible enough for it. Maybe I would have squandered it all away. That success. Maybe I didn't have my priorities and values in the right place. And God knew that until I realized what's really important in life, that's when he would, answer answer my prayers, so to speak. But anyway, hmm, there are a lot of people who, I get this quite often, as a matter of fact, people that tell me I should do a talk show. I should do a talk. You should do a radio show. You should do a talk show. And I'll be honest with you that the thought of doing a talk show really, really intrigues me. But to be quite honest with you, at this point in time in my life, I just don't have the time or interest to do a talk show. Maybe at some point in time, maybe there'll be a point in time in my life where I have more time, so to speak, to be able to focus on such a thing as a talk show. But it would be fun. I would imagine having a talk show. Hello, good morning. Lifelong, where are you from? You've commented before. But I would imagine having a talk show could be challenging, would be challenging. Do you know Alan Watts? No, name doesn't ring a bell. Echo, who is Alan Watts?
Alan Wilson Watts was an English writer, speaker and self-styled philosophical entertainer, known for interpreting and popularizing Japanese, Chinese and Indian traditions of Buddhist, Taoist, and Hindu philosophy for a Western audience. Born in Chislehurst, England, he moved to the United States in 1938 and began Zen training in New York.
Chislehurst, England? Is that where you're from? The Brits. I love the Brits. The Brits have always had a good sense of humor when I travel around England. But anyway, the radio show, I would imagine that it's not without its challenges. Day in, day out. I was doing that for quite some time, doing a daily, a morning show where I would just turn on the camera. There you go. Chuvasia, wherever that is. What country is Chuveza? Echo, what country is Chuveza in?
From Wikipedia.org, it is in the southwest of the country, bordering Ecuador and Peru.
Ecuador and Peru. Okay, Chuveza. All right. Anyway, but no, I did that for a while. The whole, stand in front of the camera 30 minutes and no? What country are you from? Come on, Lifelong. Don't keep us all in suspense. Just tell us the country. But but anyway, maybe at some point in time. You know what? I woke up this morning and I was Republic of Chavasia. What the heck? I've never heard of that. Echo, where is the Republic of Chavasia?
I know about 24 republics in Asia, including Turkey, Russia, the Philippines, Singapore, and 20 more.
I'll Google it later. But anyway, it's nice to have you on the show. But anyway, in the middle of Russia, in the middle of Russia? Wow. You're a far, far place away. But anyway, I woke up this morning, and I gotta tell you, I was sore. Really sore. It's rough getting old. For those that may be watching this that are younger, in your teens, 20s, don't get old. Don't do it. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Well, it's cracked up to be a lot because I hear a lot of stuff cracking, when I'm when I'm crawling out of bed. But anyway, the well, I got a little seed stuck in my mouth. You know what they do over there in Europe? Well, they do this everywhere. I guess it's just etiquette. Like if you have a toothpick, you always go like this. Uh-huh. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, hmm, what was I gonna say? That bothers me. You get something stuck in your teeth, and it just bothers you. There goes that clock again. But no, I was sore. I did a lot of work. I'm gonna share it with you. What I've been up to. But no, I'm not getting younger. You know, and I know that there's gonna come a time. What is it? 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? I know that there's gonna come a time when I won't physically be able to do a lot of this work that I'm doing. And that's why I'm trying to get it all done now. Tom, are you originally from Ohio? Yes, I am. Cleveland, Ohio. Euclid, Ohio, to be specific. But anyway, yeah, I know that there'll come a time when I just won't be old enough or young enough or have the physical capacity to do a lot of this work that I do. And that's why now I uh I want to get it done. I really want to get it done. And like setting up my garden. Once I get that set up, moving the fence, building my greenhouse, that kind of thing. But anyway, let me show you what I've been doing because I got to get to work. We got 8 people watching. Okay, let's see here. Let me grab my towel. So yesterday I cleaned the house. I did a deep clean of the house. See my nice little laundry room here? This was just a mess. You see, you have said nothing. That's right. So look at all of the, you see all my nice little plants that are coming out? This is really a trial and error. I could watch YouTube videos all day long on how to start seeds and all that kind of stuff. But, at the end of the day, for me, it's just kind of a trial and an error. You watch some videos and you pick up on some of the stuff and what have you. But, and then you come out here. This is my next project, to organize my garage. You see, it's just a mess. Just a complete mess. But no, these are all coming along. You see, a lot of these plants are starting to get their second leaf. You see, their Rio Reef. What is that? Tomatoes, peppers, broccoli, cauliflower. It's a whole bunch of different stuff. I didn't label it. I'm just going to throw it in the garden and see what grows. You see, here are some tomatoes here. Those are some tomatoes. You see, but this stuff seems to be doing all right, for the most part. I really like these soil blocks. You see these nice little soil blocks are just, well, they're wonderful so far. Let's see if I can pick one up. Oh, no, you see, I went to pick one up and it started to fall apart. So, because I soaked it this morning. I was soaking, I just set these trays have holes in them, and I just set them in a in a tub of water, and I let them soak. You see, so we'll see what comes of it. You know what I did yesterday? Interestingly enough, I never knew the difference between hay and straw. You would think they're one and the same, straw and hay. But look what I got. You see what I went on Facebook yesterday. Look at that. You see, I went on Facebook and somebody was giving this away. These four bales, I guess you would call these bales of straw. And, straw and hay are not the same thing. You can Google it, but what I want is I want to use these for filler. I want to put these in my raised bed just to take up space. I want some organic filler, if you will, just to, let me close the garage door, but just to take up some space. Now look at this. Boy, folks, these are going to be beautiful. Look at all of those dandelions, or not dandelions, daffodils. God forbid they were dandelions. But those are all of my daffodils coming up. And then over here, look at this, tulips. I'm going to be able to tiptoe through the tulips. I think there's a song by Tiny Tim. But look at all these tulips coming up. You see? And I didn't know this, but these are perennials, meaning they'll come back every year. And I didn't know this, but after they bloom, after the blooms die off, you can go in and dig these up and kind of separate them, like right there, there's three. It looks like there's three of them growing there. So I don't know when you plant a bulb if they spread out or multiply or what have you, see, but boy, that's going to be beautiful. And then I've got more flowers coming up over there, so that's going to be nice. But come out here to the garden. It's as if this property was made for me. It really is. Look at this. You see, look at how I set up these beds yesterday. I was out here all day yesterday for the better part of the day working. And, oh my goodness, a lot of work. Just a lot of work. But you can see, look at these beds. You see, now they come, it's two, there's two beds there. You see, you got two beds. These little square grids are going to sit on top of the soil. So I'll fill the bed with soil and then put that grid on the top to do what's called square foot gardening. That's 4x4. So that's going to be my grid to do my square foot gardening. But you see these beds, there's four of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I had some pieces left over from the old bed back there, so I reconstructed that bed, and in doing so I had some extra pieces. So what I decided to do is I'm going to use those extra pieces and I'm going to elongate, to use a 50-cent word. I'm going to elongate these beds, and in the center of these beds right there, I think I might put potatoes. I may put some potatoes in there. We will see, as the saying goes, but wouldn't that be something to put some potatoes in there? But this is what I did yesterday. I moved all this soil. Look at that. All of that soil was moved. And I'm tempted to kind of take that. This is the common area on the other side of the fence. I'm tempted to rake off a lot of the bark and stuff over on the other side of the fence, take this section of the fence down and just grade that soil right in there. We will see. But no, so this is where I'm going to put the hay. You see, so the hay is going to go. I'm going to fill this up about halfway to the top with hay, or straw rather. My apology. I'm going to fill it up with straw. And the actual soil that I plant the vegetables in is only going to be about a foot or something like that. And that'll save the beds from bowing out from too much pressure. But that's it. So it's going to be a, Lord willing, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful garden. And I don't know what to put right here. You know, I thought of putting in some stone and a nice table, you know, with an umbrella to sit out here and have brekkie in the morning, or have a beautiful candlelit dinner, you know, out in the middle of the garden. You know, I thought about putting in a fountain, put a fountain in right there, some type of a water feature, or maybe a fire pit. I don't know. We will see. But anyway, you know, I got to tell you, this jacuzzi right here. Oh my goodness gracious. You know, buying this jacuzzi was probably one of the better things. You know, when it goes to the thought of, do I need it or want it? You know, I didn't need a jacuzzi, but I wanted one. And oh yeah, look at that. Nice and clean. I'm the only one that uses it. You see, so it's always nice and clean and ready to go. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks really, really good. Let me take off my robe here. Oh yes. Okay, here we go. I hope the neighbors aren't. I hope the neighbors aren't looking. If only because I'm naked. You see. But oh yes. Oh, gotta be careful the camera doesn't slip. Oh boy. Oh. Oh man, that is good. Oh, that feels so good. Every 102 degrees of it. Oh. So, you know, depending on the day, sometimes I start my days here in the jacuzzi. Other days I end it. And today I'm starting it because I'm sore as heck from yesterday. But it'll get me all ready. It'll get me all ready for this. Lifelong, you asked me about Ohio and why'd I leave or something like that. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know. I left right out of high school because I wanted to see the world. And see the world I did. And one of the places that I saw while adventuring around the world was Idaho. And boy, I loved it. You see, look at those trees. But no, I loved it. I absolutely loved Idaho. And the weather, you know, we get cold weather. Don't get me wrong, but nothing. There's no such thing as humidity in Idaho. You don't get humidity here. Back in Ohio, the humidity is just brutal. You know, and then the winter storms and all that kind of stuff, and all the rain that they get. We really don't get a lot of rain here. You know, it rained or snows up in the mountains, but that's about it. So anyway, folks, I hope you all have a great day. Okay, take good care of yourself.